Alright, hello everybody, this is Miss Pikarski. This is our second to last unit. It's going to be pretty short and it's going to lead us right into our very last unit. Hopefully most of you guys are watching the videos and taking down the notes. You'll see on this page we have a whole bunch of underlined terms. You're going to need to fill in the blanks on your notes to fill out all that stuff. I'll give you a minute or two to do that, and then we'll go ahead and talk about all the things that we're going to talk about. All right, let's go ahead and read about this stuff. This unit is all about parametric functions, and most of you have never seen them before, so I'm only going to go over the definitions and how to put parametric functions in the calculator in the video, and then tomorrow we'll have a lot more practice stuff with it. All right, so basically parametric functions are just two functions that produce one graph, okay? And as shown in the example, one function controls your x value on the graph, and the other function or the other equation is used for the y values. Both functions are defined in terms of a third value, t, and that is always the parameter. And the reason why you use t is because a lot of times in the application problems that we have for this, t is going to be in terms of time, in seconds. All right, so this is one example on how the graph would look. You need to know how to enter parametric functions in the calculator. On the Inspire calculators, the first thing you want to do is clear your calculator, and then you're going to go to the graph screen, push menu, then press 3, and then 3 again. So let me walk you through it on the calculator. So let's say we have a whole bunch of stuff on our calculator screen. Let me make this smaller so you guys can see it all. Alright, there we go. Now we can see the whole thing. Alright, so it doesn't matter what's in your calculator, but you do want to clear it. So Doc B, when you're on this screen, clears everything. Then you go to the graphing screen, and we're going to put in an equation, but we want a parametric equation. So we go to menu, go to 3 where it says graph entry, and then go down to 3 again where it says parametric. Okay, and that'll pull up your equation like this. So in your notes, I believe we have the equation 5 minus 2t for x, and then for y, we have negative 4, so let me put the negative sign, 4 plus 3t, okay? And notice on here we have the parameters for your t value and the t-step. We'll get into that more in class, but for this case we just push enter, and that's what the graph looks like, okay? And your x and your y values are here, and t is usually time. Okay, it's pretty easy on how to plug them in. It's not too complicated. All right, let's go back to our notes, okay? Not too complicated, fairly easy. Hopefully you can do it when we get into class, or when you come to class on Wednesday. So let's look at another example. We have this equation here, and we want to graph it. Well, when we plug that into our graph, we get format, order, let me put this in the back. Okay, so we get this graph, and we can pull up our table just like we do any type of graph that we plug into the calculator. And the table will have your t value, and then it'll have your x values and your y values, okay? And you know, on the calculator when you're graphing, you would push Control T to pull up the table, and that's what you would get. So now let's answer some of these questions. What would you refer to as the starting point of the graph? If you notice right here, we have a point right here where we're starting, and then it increases this way until we don't know where it ends. Okay? Well, in this case, our starting point is when t is 0. Okay? When t is 0, what are the coordinates? And if you look, why do I have a typo there? You know what? I have a typo on my screen right here. This should be a, hold on. There. I put a typo. Sorry, guys. This should be a 4, not a 3, or not a 5. There we go. All right. So when t is 0, we plug t into the x value, and we get 4 here, and we get a negative 3 here. So that's going to be our starting point, and you just look for whatever your x and y value is when t is 0. Now, what is the slope of the line formed by these functions? How can it be found? By looking at the set of parametric functions. Okay. Usually your slope is y equals mx plus b, but in this case we have two formulas. So what is our slope? And if you recall, your slope would be rise over run, right? So whatever your rise is divided by whatever your run is. Now, if you look in your calculator, or if you look at the equations, we get negative 2/3. Well, the reason why it's a negative 2/3 is because you're only looking for the values that are multiplied by t here, and we get a -3 for our x value, so that's going to be our run here. If you notice, it looks like it's approximately -3. Well, if my line was straight, it would be -3 there. And then my rise is 2, so it's 2 divided by -3. And it's just the coefficients from t. All right, and then the last question, what exactly is the y-intercept of the line formed by this set of parametric functions, and what do the value, or at what value of t does this point occur? Explain how you determine your answers. Okay, there's a lot of ways to determine that. The easiest way is to figure out what is your x value at your y-intercept. So if we have a y-intercept right here, my x value is 0. So plug in 0 for x and solve for t. So if we do that, then we subtract by 4 divided by -3. So our x value is going to be positive 4/3, right? Or sorry, not my x value. My x value is 0. My t value is positive 4/3. Okay, I know I'm talking you through this. Let me go ahead and uncover this. So I get the coordinates for the y-intercept are 0 and -1/3. The way I find that out is first I figure out what t is when x is 0. So we found out that t was 4/3 when x is 0. We just plugged in a 0 for this x and solved for t. And then we plug in that value, this 4/3, we plug that in for our t here. Well, 4 times 2 is 8 divided by 3. And we'll figure out what that is, and I'm not going to do that in my head, but I'll show you the rest of it. We're substituting that in, and we substitute 4/3 in for t and solve for y, and we end up with -1/3. Okay, we are going to be doing a lot of problems where we have to solve for t to find some information, so make sure you know how to do that. Remember how to find your slope. Okay, so this is the end. That's all I'm going to show you on this video so far. It's a very short unit. Make sure you understand how to do a parametric function. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Bye.